This is Daniel, the founder of Bookkeeping for Painters, and today I'm here with Caleb Plidos. Caleb Plidos is the founder of Taurify. Taurify is a marketing agency that specializes in generating leads and setting appointments for painting businesses. Caleb and his team service painting businesses across the US, Canada, and even as far away as Australia. He also runs the Taurify YouTube channel with over 100 videos featuring industry guests, tips and tricks, and Facebook ad secrets. He also runs the Taurify Show podcast. Welcome to the podcast, Caleb. How's it going?
Thank you, Daniel. It's a pleasure, man. I appreciate you and everyone for having me on here, guys. We prepared a good one for you today. I want to value bomb you with as much as possible here. I don't want anyone walking away thinking I didn't get anything from that.
I'm excited. Let's get into it.
So, man.
So, first of all, how did you start providing marketing to painting businesses? That's very niche. Like,
So
how did you get into this?
it's a funny story. So I actually used to be in your shoes. I used to be an accountant. I went to school for accounting. I I always wanted to kind of run my own business. I did kind of have the entrepreneurial bug. And I thought that accounting was one of the smartest ways I could do that because I was like, all right, listen, if I'm going to learn anything, I think this is probably the most valuable business skill that I can learn. After that, I went to go work at a firm. Um, and God bless you guys. You guys are awesome, but it just wasn't for me. I was not a good fit. And I knew that, and my employer knew that as well. Um, while I was kind of working at the firm, first 6 months or so, I had this YouTube channel where it was my own YouTube channel. I've been working on it for a couple of years, and I would post a lot of videos about, just my life, like little vlogs and things like that. And I'm a big car guy. I love cars. I grew up in the Detroit area. My dad worked for General Motors. Everybody I know works for like Ford or GM or whatever. So I would go to like car shows and I would take pictures and make videos of all these different cars and things like that. So I kind of learned from that how to get comfortable on camera. I kind of learned, okay, like how to talk about stuff, how to edit, how to film, and stuff like that. So I kind of was this like automotive content creator. Okay. And then in, I was like, all right, so I know I have these skills. I know I have these skills that I can kind of be an accountant, but the accountant world wasn't for me. So at the beginning of 2022, actually this would be more like the end of 2022, I started my agency. Now I didn't know exactly that it was going to be painting companies at first that I would service, but I was like, all right, listen, I have all these skills of like editing, filming, content, stuff like that. Like these are valuable skills. I'm just using them for myself right now. So I can kind of sell these to businesses. And I ended up using that, using those skills to market for different types of businesses. They were like local businesses and things like that. I was generating leads for them. And at first, when I started the agency, it was a grind. I had to reach out to like 3,500 people just to get my very first client. So that was pretty tough. Um, but my second client ever was a painting company, and we were running Facebook ads for him, and we started doing pretty solid. And then from that, I was like, okay, I want to start making videos, YouTube videos about what we are doing. So I kind of walked through. I said, hey, this is the name of the company was First Choice Painting and Renovating. And I was like, hey, this is what we're doing for this client. This is where we saw success. This is where we failed. This is the problem that we had. This is how we solved it. And I just tried to be as open and honest as possible. And I was like, hey, listen, this is everything we did. If you want us to do this for you too, here's a link below. You can book a call and we can talk about that. Um, that kind of started on YouTube a couple years ago. Um, and then from that, other painters started reaching out, and I was like, okay, like there's obviously a need here. And if you look up like how to run Facebook ads for a painting company, like we're in like some of the top videos. So I started noticing that that was very valuable. And then at the time, we were working with about 50% painters, and then the other 50% was like other companies, maybe like automotive detailers or other sort of local businesses. And then at a certain point, we're just like, all right, we want to be really freaking good. So we got to focus on one thing. And I'm sure you know it as well. Like if you want to be the best, you got to focus at a certain thing. And that's where we said, okay, it's best if we focus on working with painting companies, and that's what we're good at. That's what we specialize in, and that's kind of how we ended up here. So that's the long story short about what happened.
That's really cool. I love how you shared the journey and were completely transparent, working with that initial painting business that you worked with and and basically gave upfront value on here's what we've tried, here's what works, here's what doesn't work. That's really cool.
Yeah, I think so. There was okay. So one of the best marketers out there, Gary Vaynerchuk, he has this kind of saying that's document, don't create. And that's kind of what I just tried to do. I feel that it came off very transparent, very honest. And I just said, hey, listen, this is what we did. This is if it worked. This is if it didn't work. And honestly, like as somebody in my shoes as a marketer, like this stuff changes all the time, man. Platforms come out with new rules, new things come out. So like you really have to always be testing new things. Um, this morning, I had like a 2 hour meeting with one of our media buyers, and we were just like testing new things for a certain client to try to get them better results. You always got to be kind of on the cutting edge of what's happening, or else it's very easy to fall behind.
Yeah, it's crazy how often these like Meta, Facebook, Instagram, Google, how often they're changing the rules and what makes sense and what doesn't, what works, what doesn't work. It's I mean, it's ridiculous. Like you almost need an expert to really guide you through what works and what doesn't work. Speaking of Facebook and Instagram, if someone's never run Facebook and Instagram ads, what should they kind of expect? Like what sort of mindset should they have going into trying this out? Because I know a lot of painters that I've worked with,
Mhm.
a lot of times they have referrals. They get word of mouth going, which is great. That's the best type of marketing, word of mouth. But into to really grow, a lot of times it takes some outbound
Mhm.
type of marketing strategy, and Facebook and Instagram are great vehicles. But if you don't have the right mindset, I think it can be a challenge to transition from word of mouth to referrals. So what do you have any thoughts on preparing to make that jump?
Yeah, so that is a phenomenal question. And I think it's something that everybody should really kind of think about when they're making this jump. So let's say that like somebody that's in kind of a good spot for this would be you're making around, 200 to $300,000 a year in your painting business. You've got a good amount of referrals. And yes, like you said, like referrals that's the cream of the crop. Those are the best. There's probably not going to be a better lead source than like somebody else holding their hand saying, "Hey, this is my guy. This is exactly what you want." That is phenomenal, and that's going to help you grow your business. However, unfortunately, like you kind of are just waiting for that to happen. It's not like you're actively searching out people or actively, running ads or other things like that. So you can only grow as fast as the referrals come in. And also, if you run outbound channels like, Facebook, Instagram, Google, stuff like that, you are you're getting in front of these people that you wouldn't normally get in front of, and those can then turn into more referrals. So it kind of feeds the system. Um, in terms of mindset, let me say it like this. Okay. The leads that you're going to get from social media are not going to be as good as referrals. I'm just going to say that. It's the honest truth. They're not going to be as good as referrals. You have to think of this like dating, okay? Like you're dating let's say you see this cute girl. Maybe you're going to the gym and she works at the counter at the gym. Think of that girl as a lead, okay? You're not going to walk up to that girl and ask her to marry you right away because she'd be freaked out and she'd be like, "Who the heck are you? You're scaring me." And then she's going to run away screaming. Okay? However, what you might do is you might, smile at her one day. The next day you might wave. Maybe you'll ask for her name the next day following that. And then eventually you'll ask for her phone number, take her out on a date, so on, so on. And then maybe down the line, you'll get married. But you can't just walk up to somebody and ask them to marry you. That's weird, and you're going to get outcast for that. That's the same thing as marketing, okay? I think a lot of people kind of expect to get a lead and then immediately close that lead on the spot, like over text, because they came in from Facebook or Google. Like there needs to be a good lead nurture process in order to actually turn those leads into, sales. So I know that's kind of a funny example, but like the parallels are really there, and I think it
Yeah.
really kind of drives that home. Like when you think about it like that, you're like, oh yeah, like that'd be really weird, right? um,
Yeah.
but some people they come into marketing and they expect somebody who sent them a message on Facebook to like agree to a $5,000, $10,000 job over three text messages. Like you got to go to their place, you got to shake their hand, you may have to send them emails, they may have to see, the social proof about your company, and they may have to be followed up on, and then that person will close. It's not just like an automatic thing without a good nurture process in place and without a good sales process in place. Um, that's why like our very first step for all the clients that we bring on is we got to get organized and there's got to be a good way to manage these leads. Because if there's not, you're kind of just wasting your money. That's why we hook all of our clients up with Drip Jobs, one of our partners. A phenomenal system to manage those leads, help follow up with those leads, and track what's going on. I mean, obviously, you are a prime example of this. Like, you got to track what's going on, or else you have no idea like what's happening. Um, that's where the good CRM comes in place, and that system comes in place. Using those tools to actually track those leads and nurture them along the line.
Yeah.
Um, so think about this like dating. Don't just walk up to a prospect and ask them to marry you. That nurture them. That's
Yeah.
that's my pitch. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. No, I love the analogy. It's hilarious.
Yeah, but it's like when you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, like that would be super
Yeah.
weird. But honestly, like I think that's what a lot of people sort of expect, which is like you know, because they've just been working off of referrals, which is phenomenal. Like referrals are great, but it's just the leads sort of have to be handled a little bit differently. So just expect that when you're coming into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the big complaints that I see sometimes I'll get it to one of the clients that I work with, or I'll see it on social media complaining about Facebook ads being like, oh, I'm getting a bunch of bad leads on Facebook. And you kind of touched on this on, the leads that you're getting from Facebook aren't going to be like referrals. But could you dive into that like a little bit more on expectations of what sort of leads are you actually getting on Facebook, and what really what should you be expecting when you're getting Facebook ad leads?
Yeah, of course. So the cons of Facebook ads, and I'll be like totally transparent about this. The cons compared to like Google or something else is that the leads aren't as high of intent. But the big pro to that is that you're getting a lot of people that you wouldn't normally get. You're not just throwing your hands up and waiting for them to reach out like you are on Google or on your website or something like that. Um, you're not just waiting for referrals to roll in. You're getting leads every single day in the door. So it's very easy that Facebook leads can become your top lead producer for the people that are coming in. Now, that's where we see a lot of kind of misunderstanding is where people kind of expect them to be the same as referrals and things like that. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things that we can do to help improve the quality of leads, making sure that you're showing in the right neighborhoods. Like we don't want to be showing ads to people who just straight up can't afford your services. We want them to have the money for a $5,000, $10,000 cabinet job. That's number one. Number two is we can kind of disqualify people on the way. So like, let's say for example, we put like a question in one of the forms that says, "Hey, what's your project timeline?" If they say, "I'm looking to get something done in 2 years," we may say, "Hey, probably not the best fit to work together right now." Or the we'll get into this a little later, but like our appointment setters, once those leads come in, we call those leads and we qualify them over the phone. So like this is something that we work out with each business owner, maybe the radius that they operate in, or if they have maybe like a job minimum. Well, we may say to the prospect, hey, looks like you're getting this done, so on and so forth. We'll have a little bit of a conversation, and then hey, just to let you know, our job minimum is $750 or $1,000 or whatever. Like, is that okay? And then that's a nice way to say that. Okay, yeah, like that's fine before we book the estimate to help kind of pre-qualify that person. Um, but what we noticed is that the the bad lead issue, uh, there's a lot of different reasons that that could come about. Um, one of them is because of lead management. That's the exact reason why we started calling the leads for our clients, and we started offering appointment setting because we noticed that a lot of our clients were they were getting leads on Facebook. They were calling them like 2 or 3 days later, and then they would come back to us and say, "Hey, these leads suck." I talked to them and they said they don't remember me, and I was like, "Oh, like that's terrible. What happened?" And then I come to find out they called them like 3 days later, and I'm like, "Dude, of course they don't remember you. Like speed the lead is incredibly important. Like you got to call these people within 5 minutes. And if you're the business owner and you're hopping around from job to job, you're doing this and that, like it's probably unrealistic to think that you can just drop everything and call the lead right then and there. What if you're in an estimate or what if you're doing something? Like, you know, they just didn't have the time. So that's why we started offering it for them. It's kind of a nice middle ground to like if you don't have a full-time in-office admin, our appointment setters are working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. So like we're there when a lead comes in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's key. I just last week I had a consult for a newer client. We're doing some budgeting for 2025,
Yeah.
and he hadn't done Facebook ads before, but he wanted to add that because he wanted to grow to 500,000. And so he was like, I'm going to budget $50,000 for Facebook leads, Facebook ads to get leads from there. I was like, okay, great. And he had a marketing firm that he had just signed up with. And I was like, okay, so how are you going to deal with the leads when they come in? How are those being set? How are those getting scheduled on the your estimate calendar? And he wasn't sure. He didn't have a plan. And I was like, is the marketing company doing that for you? Because it's not always a given that a marketing company is going to set appointments for you. So that was some homework he had. So I think this is like a super key thing to know about Facebook is those, like you said, when those leads come in from Facebook, it's speed to lead. You have to have a really good process if you're going to do it in your business, a really good process to handle those leads, or work with someone like you that just handles that for you and sets the appointments for you. So I think that's like really key. And I love that you are handling that for the folks that you work with.
So it also kind of helps us do a better job for them as well because I'll tell you, like, to I know you didn't ask for a marketing agency therapy session here, but I'm going to give you one today. That one of the most challenging parts about being in like our shoes is that we don't always know what's going on the other end. If a client isn't tracking their CRM and they're not telling us what's going on, uh, we have no idea if those leads are turning into appointments, if they're making money, how much money they're making. So, because we have more control over that, I can listen to every single phone call and gauge how interested the prospect is, if this is a good fit, so on and so forth. Um, and that allows us to do better advertising because we're also making those phone calls so that we can kind of understand more about what's going on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
To, what are some, can you talk to me a little bit about ads, Facebook ads themselves? Like what makes a good ad? What makes a bad ad? Like what I've heard different strategies out there. What have you seen that's worked?
Yeah, of course. So let me tell you this, like if you are running Facebook ads, if you're doing this for yourself, you probably got to test some different ads. I know it's probably not what you want to hear, but you can't just set it and forget it. Your ads eventually, as people see them a lot, will tend to die out. With that being said, the best ads that we normally see are with the business owner in the ad and some sort of video. So, a video of the business owner talking about what they do, maybe walking around a job that they completed or talking about their services. I want you to, when you're thinking about the ads that you are putting out on Facebook, I want you to think of it in the shoes of your prospect. Okay. Talk about the type of things that your ideal prospect wants to hear. Your ideal prospect probably doesn't want the cheapest guy out there. They probably want somebody who does great quality work, who they can trust, who's honest, who has a great crew that they know is going to take care of them. They want a good, easy experience, and so on, so on. Like in your ads, you should be talking about the things that appeal to your ideal prospect. If you say, hey, this is Joe's painting. We are the cheapest people in town. We smoke cigarettes inside your house and blah, blah, blah. Like you're probably going to get poor quality leads if that's what you're putting out there. You're going to get the people who don't care about that. They just want like the cheapest thing possible. And those are probably not going to be your ideal clients. Um, so, with that being said, you get out what you put into it. If you put out great quality ads, you're going to attract better quality people.
That makes sense. And it seems like, I guess, could you talk to me about this phrase, local painting celebrity?
Yeah. So, in addition, so one of the great things about Facebook ads is that you can really kind of tell your story and you can relate to people. What we try to do for all of our clients is get them on camera as much as possible. Now, like what we do is we get like the actual video of them talking. We do all the editing, we cut it up, we make it look nice, all the captions. But like if we get like that, just that video from them, that works wonders. So the reason why is because if let's say you run Daniel's painting, okay, and you are all over your local area. Hey, this is Daniel. This is what we do. I'm your neighbor. I'm a family man. I X, Y, and Z. People get to know you, and then they start to like you. So when you show up to their house and shake your hand or shake their hand, you're not just some random guy from the painting company. You're Daniel, the guy from the ad that they've seen plenty of times, that they know, and that helps them trust you a little bit more. So it kind of builds up your authority before you even step into their door.
Mm-hmm. And do you recommend, because we had talked about what Gary Vaynerchuk recommends is to document, do you kind of have the same recommendation for painting businesses that they need to make a habit of kind of documenting their process of painting houses and using that to kind of help out their marketing strategy?
Yeah, so there's kind of three main videos that we start all of our clients off with. The first one is going to be a little bit more general. Hi, I'm Caleb. We operate, or I operate Caleb's Painting. We do work in Macomb County, Michigan, and we do interior, exterior cabinetry. And then just we prioritize high quality work. We're licensed, insured, just kind of a little bit more of a general ad. That's number one. Number two would be some sort of like project walkthrough, ideally showing like a before and after. So, and if you can even like tell a little bit of a story with it, like just a quick little story. It doesn't need to be anything crazy, but like for example, hey, we're here at Susan's house. She has this really bad problem with her exterior. Some of her wood is starting to crack and get moldy, and the exterior paint is chipping. This is what it looks like. And then, fast forward to the after. Hey, we're back at Susan's house here. Look at how beautiful her house looks. We cleaned all of this up. She's very happy. She's going to have people over for the holidays, and she's very excited to show off her new home. Doesn't need to be this like long story, but like painting is obviously very visual. Showing the before and after is like that's another good one too. Um, Number three is going to be like our third kind of recommendation is some sort of like testimonial heavy ad. So if you can get like one of your prospects to say like, "Hey, I worked with Caleb and his team. They did a phenomenal job on my home. My exterior was really old and outdated, and now it looks great. I like my house so much more now, or whatever." Um, Whatever somebody else says about you is like 10 times more valuable what you say. Like obviously you're going to say great things about your business because you own it. But if somebody else says it, like just like in a Google review or something like that, it just holds a lot more weight.
Makes sense. So this next part, the next question is going to be my favorite part of the podcast. Not that this has been bad so far, it's been great.
Yeah.
But I'd love to talk about the metrics. Like, what metrics do you like to track for Facebook or Meta ads generally? And what should we focus on? Because there's so much data that you can look
Yeah.
at. Like, what do we really need to focus on? And if you could give some benchmarks, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So I try to keep this as simple as possible when we're looking at metrics. The number one most important thing is how much money you're actually bringing in from the ads. The click-through rate, cost per lead, all that stuff, none of it matters unless you're actually bringing money in from the ads. So that's number one. That's at the top of the pyramid. Um, with that being said, at first, if you are starting off brand new with advertising, you're probably not going to be at like a 10% or 5% cost of marketing. You're probably going to be more like 15, maybe even 20. But over time, your advertising cost should be between 5 and 10% of your business. So for example, if you make $100,000 a month, you should be spending 5 to $10,000 a month on some sort of marketing. That's kind of like the first big one. Um, Next up is going to be kind of like the appointments and then cost per lead, stuff like that. Appointments on Facebook and Instagram, every about one out of every three leads should become an estimate. So if 100 leads come in, some people might not be a good fit. Some people might, be out of your service area. But out of 100 leads, you should go to about 30 estimates from that. So that's a 30% set rate. On Google, it'll be a little higher, about 70 or 80. Um, in terms of cost per lead, I'd say $50 on average is a good thing to shoot for. It's going to depend on your market, who your competitors are, but anywhere between like 40 and 60, you're kind of in the right spot here. With that being said, there's one more that I think is important. It is the, if you look on Facebook in the Facebook Ads Manager, there's this metric called link click-through rate. That means that people are clicking on your ads and they're going to where you want them to go. So that means your creatives, your copy, they like it enough to kind of get to that next step. Maybe that next step is filling out a form, sending you a message, going to your landing page, whatever that next step is. Um, that link click through rate should be above 1%. That means that if you show the ads to 100 people, one or more people make it to that next step. That's kind of like the first kind of top of funnel metric. I don't want to get into like anything else because that'll just kind of muddy the waters. But those are the simple ones to kind of look at.
Okay, so to recap, revenue from ads. So just what you're getting from those Facebook ads. What jobs are you closing? What is the dollar amount of revenue you're getting from those Facebook ad efforts? And you said so that's number one. Then trying to get if you're just starting out a 15%, 15 to 20% marketing costs as a percentage of revenue that you, from Facebook, but trying to get that down to 5 or 10% ideally. And then appointments that are coming in, or I'm sorry, leads that are coming in, you're setting at least one out of three. So around a 33% set rate, like actually taking the lead and putting it on your calendar. If you're getting one out of three leads on the calendar, you are good. And uh, then the click through rate for the basically showing the ads, looking at the click through rate of your ad, making sure that it's above 1% to ensure that the ad is effective. There was one other thing I'm missing. What was the other
Was it cost per lead?
metric? Cost per lead.
Yeah, cost per lead. I'd say about 40 to $60 cost per lead. That
Okay.
that's that's average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
For
if you're listening to this like on the road or something, I know this is kind of a lot of numbers here, but just to kind of summarize, like at first, if you're spending $2 on ads and you're getting back $10 in jobs, then that's good. But you want to get to a point where you're spending $1 on ads and getting back $10. But it's not gonna be like off the cuff.
yeah. And I guess if you let's say you're spending $3 and you're getting only $10, and what are the first things that you would look at to kind of troubleshoot what's going wrong? Should I immediately fire my marketing company?
So I think so here's what I'll say. Uh, I think you need to have a good, open, honest conversation with your marketing company so that they can help you. Like they are here to help you and work you through these problems. And realistically, it is a partnership. You can be the best salesperson in the world, but if they're not getting you leads, then you're not making any money. Or vice versa. If they're getting you the best leads in the world, but you can't close anything, then you're not going to be making money or happy either. So I think you should have if you're in that situation where you're not making money, it's important to have a good, open, honest conversation with your agency to figure out what the heck is going on. The three main things that, at least if we ever have that conversation, three main things that we look at are the leads coming in? Are they like actually good leads coming in? Are those leads turning into appointments? And then are those getting closed? If if a bunch of leads are coming in, a bunch of appointments are getting set, but they're just not getting closed, then okay, let's learn about that. Does the sales team need a little bit more training? Are, like what's going on there? Is this a sales issue? Or vice versa. Maybe we're getting leads in, but on the phone, like we're only booking like 5% of those leads. Okay, what's going on here? Like, do the setters need to be trained? Do we need to loosen up our restrictions a little bit? You know, we look at each number in the funnel and to kind of pinpoint where the issue may be.
Hmm.
That's basically like, if you are not hitting the numbers that you want and you are not hitting good numbers, the best thing I can tell you is to look at your CRM, look at your metrics. Okay, like where do the problems lie? Am I not getting enough estimates? Am I not closing enough estimates? Am I not getting enough leads? Like where is the actual issue? And then from there, you can further. Usually, it's one of three things. It's either leads, set, or sales. Like usually, there's not many other things it could be where the problem is. So
Hmm.
once you see where that problem actually is, then you can kind of dive deeper into solving it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So basically, look at, am I getting leads? Are those leads turning into estimates? And then are those estimates turning into book jobs?
Yes.
And if there's a one of those things isn't working too well, if you can fix that thing, then it might solve your issue. Sounds like.
Yeah. So like for example, if you're getting a good amount of leads and you're closing a good amount of them, but you're just not setting enough appointments, if you can just fix that number, like if you can set 5% more appointments by maybe hiring a setter or training, your admin a little bit better, then or just having better speed to lead, like that helps all of your other numbers like tremendously. Like just fixing one of those variables like really cranks up the volume on everything else.
Nice. Cool. Do you have any other tactics, tips, strategies for Facebook for painting business owners that we haven't talked about so far?
For the most part, I think we've kind of gone over a lot of the Facebook, Instagram tactics and things like that. I guess the last kind of thing that I will say is paid advertising, Facebook, Instagram, Google, all this stuff. It only works as good as you work it. So you got to give it a good solid try. You know, it's if you're starting this brand new, it's going to take a little while to learn how to do it and all that type of stuff. If you're not hiring somebody else to do it, just a lot of people have this shiny object syndrome and, oh, I need to hop to Angie's or I need to hop to Google or I need to hop to this or that. Like everything works. You just got to put in the time to make it work.
Yeah. Yeah. Great advice. I think definitely I'm guilty of that myself. I'll try this for a while, hop over, let's try this other marketing channel. How does that work? But you're not getting any traction in the meantime and like wasting your time. So yeah, that's great advice. So where can folks learn more about what you do over there at Taurify? What do folks need to do?
Yeah, so the first thing I'd recommend is go check out the YouTube channel. We have a ton of free content, free value, where we walk you through exactly what we do, how we do it, our successes, our failures. I even posted a video probably about 2, 3 weeks ago now about like all of the things that we've changed based on the feedback that we got from our clients. So like if you just want to learn a little bit more about what we do, that's a great spot. And if you want to kind of learn a little bit more about working with us specifically, where we can run all your ads for you, set those appointments so that you and your sales team can, have more people to visit so that you guys can close more deals, then I would check out our website, just www.taurify.com, and all of our stuff's there. You can book a call. I will personally meet with you and kind of discuss what your needs might be, so we can kind of take it to the next level and help scale.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Caleb. This was amazing. I think you definitely delivered on your promise of delivering
Well, thank
some amazing value. So I really appreciate your time. And with that, we will see you next week.
thank you.